were there any times where like, maybe she felt unconfident about something and then
No.
you kind of felt like, oh man, should I help? And then you kind of like want her to make her own mistake too. Like, were there
Mm,
situations like that? And like, what did you do and how did you handle that?
I have a very good story around that. One time she was working in Dallas and I was in Los Angeles, and she called me up and she said, Mom, I did bad this morning. I did bad. And I was working with all these corporate people, and it's different than working with the field. And I didn't, well, actually, two of the corporate people came and talked to me afterwards. And they told me, this is a different audience, Grace. These are all corporate people, not field people. And they loved her enough and cared about her enough to give her these tips. But she said, I must have been really bad. Mom, can you come and just do this for me? And I said, Grace, if I go and do that for you, you probably will never do it again. I
Mm,
can't do that to you. I want you to be prepared, make the adjustments that they suggested, and go ahead, and tomorrow will be a new day and you'll get to show up very differently. And in Hawaii we wear very flowy, colorful clothes, and
mm.
that's what she was wearing. And the field loves that, but they were all in suits and navy blue and black. And so she went out that night and she bought a suit. She changed her hair from it being long and flowy, pulled it back, and she just adjusted really, really well. And in that city I have a lot of prayer warriors, people that are like really prayer warriors, and people were praying for her and with her. And the next day she did just a beautiful job and nailed another event. Now, I think if I would have rescued her, I really believe she wouldn't have done it again. And
Mm,
this way, she faced that and she
mhm,
showed herself that she could, and she could adjust to whatever situation. A very, very good learning experience.
mhm,
And that company was one of our biggest clients for many, many years. So I
mm,
know that sometimes facing the things that are the hardest for us teaches many, many lessons.
mhm.
And my mom taught me that. I'd been a competitive diver, and I did this dive and I went straight up and I came straight down on the diving board, and the tooth came out
Oh
my mouth
no.
and blood everywhere. And I'm hanging on the diving board. My mother jumps the fence. Let me take you to the hospital. I said, Mom, if I don't get on that board now, I'm never going to do it again.
Mm,
I just need one more dive. And today they probably wouldn't do it. It was bloody. Then my coach said, yes, they could do a dive.
mhm,
And I did a dive, and I can dive today. I have no fear. I learned from her. Things pass down from generation to generation to generation if we are aware of it. What were the good things that we learned?
mm,
We all have some things we go, oh man, that wasn't such a good lesson. But we have
mhm,
lots of good lessons. Pass those good lessons on in your family heritage and watch what happens. You'll empower
mhm.
people.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful because I think as parents, sometimes you just you don't want your kids to get hurt.
Mm.
You're protective, and I think the natural instinct is to jump in and help them.
Rescue.
And rescue, yeah. And so it takes some sort of discipline and understanding the bigger picture. Is like, okay, well, if I jump in and help them, what is that going to teach them? Is that going to really help their confidence at all? And
Mm.
really thinking that through, asking the right questions, right? So I
Mm.
think that's important to figure out what are the great things, the great lessons that you want to teach from your parents, and then kind of leave out the bad things.
I look back at my mom. I remember coming home from school one day, and I was kind of sad. And my mom goes, Nikki, what's going on? And I said, Mom, why is Susie so mean? She's mean to me and she's mean to all the kids. And she said, Nikki, you got to ask yourself a better question. And I said, what? She said, ask yourself a better question that will give you a more positive answer. And I thought for a minute, I said, how can I show her how to be kind to people? So
Mm,
she taught me lessons from a very young age. And I remember also my sisters and brothers, they're all like geniuses. Like They know what year King Tut died and everything. I could care less. He's dead. It doesn't matter to me in the rest of my life. And I said, Mom, what's wrong with me? I don't want to do studying for 4 hours after school. I want to play baseball and I want to play tag and I want to be with my friends. And I said, I'm not interested in being a straight A student. She goes, well, who said you needed to be? And I said, well, I thought because they all were that maybe you thought I should be. She said, when have I ever told you that? When's your dad told you that? I said, well, you never have. She said, don't worry about the things that you're not good at. Focus on your strengths. She said, what are your strengths? And I said, my strengths are people. I get along with everybody. I understand people very well, really quickly. And I know sometimes even what they're thinking. Maybe they're not saying it, but I can just tell by what their body's doing or their facial expressions are doing. She goes, Nicki, you're right. Those are your strengths. Focus on your strengths. Study people. And, I got accredited in coaching. I got accredited at the highest level in behavioral intelligence. I have certification in emotional intelligence. I have always studied those things for my whole life. So I don't worry about my things I'm not so good at. I can hire people to do those things. I just have to have an understanding so I don't get ripped off or somebody do something illegal or something. I got to have some knowledge, but I don't have to know everything. And it isn't even fun for me. What I do is fun. I love my life. What I get to do is joyful. And I don't have to worry about all the rest of this stuff.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you watch the full episode here. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you click on the subscribe button. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.